Lore of the Old World, Armies of Legend, Chapter 6, Skaven. The Skaven are a malevolent race of rat-men that lair in darksome tunnels far beneath the Warhammer world. When they march to war, they do so as a multitudinous horde with a staggering amount of troops at their disposal, from rank after rank of warriors to packs of war beasts. Specialist troops march alongside large blocks of infantry, and towering over these scurrying hordes are the devilish war machines of this wickedly clever race, each an insane blend of magic and technology. To hold the title of warlord is to rule. Skaven do not earn their rank through experience, noble birth, or respect, as other races do. Instead, they sneak, cheat, and murder their way to the top. Only the most devious and cunning can hope to rule in the Undercities. Any Skaven warlord or chieftain worth their fur knows that any one of their underlings may one day challenge them for the right to lead. So even the most powerful and proven leaders possess an unhealthy level of paranoia when it comes to trust and betrayal. Marked for greater purpose at birth by their rare white fur, grey seers are different from other Skaven thanks to the small, nub-like growths on the tops of their heads. Should the grey seer live long enough, these will eventually become fully formed horns that command fear and subjugation in other Skaven. Even the most powerful of Skaven warlords will confer with a grey seer before enacting their nefarious plans. The notorious warlock engineers of Clan Skryre are the crazed inventors and artificers of Skaven society, blending the arcane with the mechanical in an insane and mind-boggling mix. For the other races of the world, it can be difficult to discern where the science stops and the magic begins. But that naivety has never stopped the warlock engineers, for they truly see science and magic as one. These sorcerer inventors often go to war carrying their newest and most devastating contraptions, whirring, hissing, and clanking onto the field as they unleash blasts of warp lightning, warp fire, and noxious gas. Skaven Master Assassins are the skillful warriors and elite killers in the shadowy Clan Eshin. Those few who know of the existence of the black-clad Master Assassins fear them above almost anything else. For once you have been marked for death by the Shadow Clan, it is only a matter of time before they find you. Sabotage, arson and poisoning all contribute to a Master Assassin's fatal bag of tricks, and these skills are relied upon by Skaven warlords to ensure their position of power is secure. None rely upon the Master Assassins as heavily as the Grey Seers, who regularly call upon Clan Eshin's services to ensure the nefarious will of the great horned rat is carried out. Plague Priests are the most degenerate ratmen of Clan Pestilence, leading their foul kin in the creation of new and virulent infections, forever searching the ultimate contagion that will bring the world to its knees. It is these fanatical individuals that encourage and foster the frenzied zealotry of the plague monks, teaching them dark litanies of hate and sickness. Plague priests claim that the horned rat, harbinger of disease, is the one who grants them arcane powers on their disgusting mission. Whether their sorcerous might comes from some foul divine presence, or from many hours of studying the fetid brook of woe, there is no denying the grim effectiveness of the plague priest's noxious magic. It is easy to tell storm vermin apart from their kin, for they often stand a full head and shoulders taller than their scrawny litter mates. With powerful muscles and silky smooth pelts of dark brown and black, serving alongside their warlord or chieftain, storm vermin form the vanguard of most Skaven forces, where they can quickly take the fight to the enemy with their saw-bladed halberds. Most Skaven are clan rats, members of the vast horde of feral ratmen that belong to one of the thousands of clans scattered throughout the Under Empire. Whilst a lone clan rat lacks the courage to cause any real threat, when they band together in great numbers, they will eagerly throw themselves towards the enemy with animalistic ferocity. Clan Scryer specializes in the insane blending of sorcery and arcane technology. Its inventive members build infernal devices capable of fiendish destruction and manipulate the winds of magic to cast spells and intertwine enchantments into mechanical form. From their warp forges under the mythical city of Skaven Blight, Clan Scryer has produced untold weaponry and risen to become arguably the most influential of all clans. By selling their weird arsenal of devastation to the warlord clans, Clan Scryer has grown wealthier than any other clan. None dare offend Clan Scryer for fear of ending up at the wrong end of any number of weapons that could melt, blast, desiccate, or otherwise cause grievous death. The industrious and innovative Clan Scryer is responsible for all manner of wild and dangerous battlefield inventions, including the various weapon teams that accompany the Skaven hordes into battle. From bullet-spitting cannons to motorized whirling blades, each of these devices has just as much chance of annihilating those who operate them as they do of slaying their intended targets. Named after their famous long-barreled warp-lock rifles, Jezzails are a two-rat team made up of a gunner and a loader. The gunner fires a great warpstone-infused rifle, whilst the loader feeds rounds into the weapon and shields them both with a large purvise. The rounds are launched at such high speeds that they can punch through a breastplate and the body within it before coming to a stop. Though the engineers of Clan Scryer have attempted many different methods for delivering their infamous poison gas, none have proved as effective as the Globadiers. These specially trained warriors hurl glass orbs filled with the deadly warpstone gas into the ranks of their foes. Common rat swarm all about the Skaven. Some are used by the Grey Seers to spy upon their enemies. Others are blessed with contagion by clan pestilence, while others swarm towards the Skaven's enemies as a great chittering mass. Clan Moulder rose to infamy by mastering the art of breeding, mutating, and surgically creating monstrous fighting beasts. Quite how they stitch together disparate parts of mutated creatures is unknown, for they jealously guard their methods. But it is no secret that Clan Moulder is one of the wealthiest clans, or that a portion of any warlord's clan's military strength was birthed in Hell Pit, the loathsome stronghold of the Master Moulders. A nightmarish blend of ogre and Skaven, rat ogres are created by Master Moulders using abominable crossbreeding and arcane enhanced surgery. In battle they are driven towards the enemy by their creators, where the beasts will set about with the enemy with frenzied abandon. Their thirst for violence and desperate insatiable hunger sees them rip apart any who stand in their path before feasting on whatever remains. Additional heads, extra clawed limbs, spines, bone spikes, and even tusk-like incisors are all commonplace mutations upon the walking abominations for which Clan Moulder is renowned. In battle, these mutant giant rats will rip, tear, and gnaw at any enemy within reach, leaving little but cracked skulls and chewed bones in their wake. Trained in the art of lightning strikes and ambushes, Night Runners are the foot soldiers of Clan Eshin. They use darkened alleyways and unprotected sewers to sneak into position before hammering the enemy with razor-sharp throwing stars and shards of rock launched from slings. Any Night Runners who prove particularly skilled at more clandestine battlefield missions and survive such perilous work will earn themselves the title of gutter runner. These promising recruits are taken away to learn the mysterious fighting style of the Clan Eshin Master Assassins. Any who survive the grueling training are formed into units of fearsome infiltrators, skilled in the art of night raids, arson attacks, and generally sowing chaos and disorder. The zealous plague monks of Clan Pestilens will stop at nothing to ensure the denizens of the Old World are beyond receiving the gifts of disease and pestilence. These hideous Skaven are instantly recognizable by their fetid robes and the soiled bandages that barely cover their weeping sores, bony growths, and seeping blisters that mark their bodies. Only the most fanatical plague monks are given the honour of carrying a dreaded plague censer. Filled with a foul concoction of disease and warpstone, the heads of these spiked flails emit a toxic green fog that chokes and infects all who inhale it. Of all the strange contraptions that the Skaven use in war, the Screaming Bell is perhaps the most notorious. A large, wheeled carriage supports the vast weight of the ruinous war machine, as it is pushed into battle by a teeming horde of Skaven. From atop these unholy altars, grey seers channel their power in order to enact the will of the great horned rat. Their chittering incantations periodically drown out by the thunderous, mind-splitting tolling of the unholy bell. As the noise reaches its crescendo, the Skaven who hear it seem to fight even more fiercely than before, and show no sign of their usually cowardly nature. Inspired by the screaming bells of the grey seers, plague furnaces are disease-ridden altars to the great horned rat, and filthy pulpits from which the plague priests conduct their foul sermons. Hauled into battle by the chanting minions of Clan Pestilens, the creaking structure lumbers towards the enemy as a great censer filled with poisonous warpstone gas swings ominously back and forth. The deadly fumes that radiate from this unholy wrecking ball weaken and enfeeble those who inhale the foul mixture, making them easy prey for the fanatical plague monks who accompany the infernal device. There are few devices that capture the mind-bending insanity of the Warlock Engineers as well as the Doom Wheel. This odd-looking war machine is a crazed blend of science and sorcery, both simple and complex in design. Rats scampering inside the enormous wheel act as the primary source of locomotion, which in turn powers the warpstone generator, which, if everything goes to plan, which it seldom does, shall shoot lethal bolts of warp lightning at anything in the vicinity. Should the devastating bolts of lightning fail to slay the foe, then the grinding, iron-shod wheel is likely to crush any survivors who fail to dive for cover. Clan Moulder is famous for its monstrous, surgically enhanced beasts, but none are as fearsome and devastating as the creatures known as Hell Pit abominations. Using the gargantuan blindworm as a starting point, the master moulders of the clan use parts grafted from rat ogres to further enhance the beast's killing power. This results in a living mountain of misshapen flesh that slithers and shambles after its prey, rearing up to a towering height before slamming its colossal body weight into anyone foolish enough to stand their ground. Vast, boulder-sized fists smash their foes to a pulp and send men flying, whilst hungry jaws ravenously snap and chomp as it tries desperately to devour all within reach. An arcane contraption of devastating power, the Warp Lightning Cannon was created by the Warlock Engineers to annihilate anyone unfortunate enough to be standing in front of the infernal device. Powered by an enormous hunk of warpstone, the weapon emits a crackling ball of warp energy that travels down the rune-etched barrel to enhance its destructive power as it rolls towards its target. Those splashed by the semi-congealed liquids unleashed from a plague claw catapult often find themselves quickly succumbing to the toxic fumes or accidentally ingesting the rotten payload, and they are the lucky ones. For those who don't fall swiftly, a far slower and more painful death awaits, as their flesh blisters and erupts with boils and pustules as a fatal fever begins to take hold, from which few recover. From jagged blades that weep corrosive poisons upon those pitted surfaces are scratched foul runes in the tongue of the great horned rat, to warpstone-powered engines that belch toxic black smoke as they gather and harness the winds of magic, Skaven magic items are destructive artifacts. Indeed, when it comes to the creation of powerful and unique artifacts, the Skaven seem driven by a desire to create ever more outrageously destructive and deadly weapons and devices, with little thought ever given to the dangers such items might pose. In fact, so dangerous are these corrupted treasures that they invariably pose as much risk to those that wield them as they do to their enemies of the Skaven. Skaven believe all magic originates from the same source, their powerful and fickle god, the horned rat. In truth, the potent and destructive magic of the Skaven relies upon the manipulation of the winds of magic, without which even the most devout and cunning Skaven would be unable to weave the simplest spell.